Sunshine, blue skies, gotta cry. Millions of moons to cross the line. Since the day, oh yeah.
I am super excited about today because as we were talking before the show, we have been months now trying to put this together to have this conversation, but we both believe things happen as they should, according to the timeline that they should. So
Yes, ma'am.
without further delay, I am excited to introduce to you all Dr. Obom Bowen, if I said that correctly.
It's a
I
pleasure
typically just
to
say
be
Dr.
here.
O.
Right? Dr. O works too, right? Because as long as it's not zero. But, it seemed, Alita, like it's been forever and a day. But I'm glad that today is that day, right? It's all
Today
good
is
now.
that
Today
day,
is that.
yes.
Just go right hand in hand with my book. Today's the day. Today's always the day. For what? What do you, right? Well, today was that day that we caught this thing. And for everybody who's watching this, you guys don't know, like today, we literally try to have this at least like 8 times. Schedule, reschedule, this schedule, that schedule, up, down. So, let's start on that as a lesson for folks. It's like sometimes when you see, people look at ways to justify things like, see, it wasn't meant to be. Or it's like, I know why this is happening because it's so powerful to be that the enemy's trying to find all kinds of ways to push us apart. So I'm in, but then you have the other category of folks that'll say like, hey, it wasn't meant to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Really? Is it even meant to be? Well, yes. Yes.
That's right. That's
Right.
Yes. Well, we are going to get into this conversation now. Y'all know I don't do long bios and I typically don't really say the bio. I leave it to the guests, but I do want to share something because this was unique. And I know this isn't part of your pivotal moment, I don't believe, but I would love you to just talk about this. So you guys, when I got the bio from Dr. O, here's what the bio says. I help fun, loyal, and integrity-driven speakers and business professionals build a predictable 7- and 8-figure legacy businesses and 8-figure business coaches. I'm sorry, but I should have my glasses on if I was going to read this. 100 billion in revenue for Fortune 100 companies, 4-time award-winning international best-selling author. I wanted to read that because I think this is the first time that I actually saw a bio that did not start with who I am. You started with what you do, and it's really related to serving other people. So
Yes,
I don't
ma'am.
know if you intended to talk about that, but I just thought that was really profound. I've never seen a bio like that.
Yeah, well, thank you first of all, but I'm a servant before I'm anything else. I've always, even as a kid, I served my parents. I'm the last of 13 kids, right? So I learned to serve. I had 12 different models to watch what they did, and it's not that I was born smart. I was just very observant. Didn't want to get into trouble because everybody blamed it on me because I was always the one too young enough to figure out what they were really doing, and I'm getting into trouble. So I learned to keep my mouth shut and observe. Right. And I started serving them all so they didn't have to serve me up to mom and dad, especially my dad, to get a butt whipping. Right. It was always like, no, how do I protect myself? Right. So and then, I learned things like service to many leads to greatness. And then, I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps and learned leadership and servant leadership, being a father, serving my kids, so on and so forth. But I started studying the ultimate leader, Jesus Christ, and what he did and all he's ever done was serve. I mean, he put his whole life on the cross, climb him out, right, to build a kingdom. And if you're truly building God's kingdom, you have to be a servant, right? That be a servant leader. He said, be the shepherd. The shepherd is the person who leads the sheep. Well, it's not just because the sheep are there. It's crazy because when you look at it from a biblical perspective, the reason why sheeps, it's the only animal on the planet, the only one that needs a leader. The only one. Right? Because when you look at them, let's just, some people might did he just really say that? Like, sheeps are dumb. So they need, right? They need direction. God created them. They can protect clothing, right? That was one of the first uses. They can protect clothing. The stuff, they're very strong, right? And they're very organized in following. So it's the analogy. They were created to be an analogy animal for everything that God wants. It says, "My sheep know my voice." So like shepherds, the sheep knows the shepherd voice. They do everything the shepherd tells them to do. They're into routine. And if the shepherd go and run off a mountain, they'll run off a mountain. But that demonstration of that God created them to be, he always says, "Don't be sheep." Or people would say, "Don't be sheeple," meaning like, don't be so bold into someone that you're going to follow them off the cliff. Like you get to the edge of the cliff, be like, "Listen, man, you didn't give us no parachute. So hold up a minute. I got to just step back for a second." Right. So I look to serve first. And in every relationship, everything I do, I serve first before I ask. Because here's the deal. That's law number one. That's his first spiritual law of wealth, reciprocity. Whatever you give will be returned tenfold. So I show up to serve first. Now, here's the deal. I don't look to get it back from the person because I'm serving God. He says, that's how you can manipulate God. He says he's going to return it tenfold. So I ain't looking for nothing from you, not you, but everybody else. I'm not looking for anything from them. I'm just serving because God's going to give me what I deserve. That's why I serve first.
Powerful. And I mean, when I saw that, I immediately started thinking, I'm big on like mission statements and
Right.
words and the power of words and all that. But I was really just impressed with just, really starting off with what you're going to do for someone else. And I was like, I need to take a page from that, just we know we're doing it, but we don't
Right.
always say that. We don't always lead with that. Right. And to
Right.
your point, if you don't lead with that, if you lead with who I am, there could be a disconnect because sometimes people like the sheep are looking to be led. And if you don't present as someone that can do that for them, you may lose them.
Yeah. Right. And
Wow.
and that's, so who I serve is who I am. Right. So what I do is in my statement, like my I am statement is in that. So I serve fun, love, and integrity driven people. Because I don't want anybody else. I don't want the wannabes, the pretenders, the fakes, the make. No, I don't want them. I want more people like me so I can be more fun and loving and whatever that I am. Right? Why would I want anybody else so I can live, fun, spend backwards is enough. I don't want to be enough. Like, no, I don't want to be that guy. That's why I start with fun people because I don't want to have a bunch of nuffs around my life. No, I won't.
I've had enough.
Enough, right? When your car gets to E, that's what it means. It's enough. Like you have enough gas to get to the gas station, so you might want to stop right now, right? So,
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes.
so that means you have just enough gas to not get into trouble. So pull over, find a gas station
Yes.
right now.
That's it. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Well, of
man.
course, the topic is pivotal moments. So I am so interested to find out what pivotal moment will you be sharing with us today?
Oh man, I didn't even really pay attention, but I'm glad I'm in the moment. I've had I'm not kidding you, at least 100 of them in my life. So pivotal moments. Okay, I'll give you a choice. How about that?
Ooh.
Right, pivotal moments in my life, pivotal moment in relationships, or pivotal moment in business. You choose.
Ooh. I know. Let's talk about life.
Life. Okay.
Life.
Pivotal
Yeah.
moments in life. One of the greatest ones. See, I'm glad you chose that one because then I get to tie in all the others. Ha!
Which is what I figured.
You so slick. Ooh, girl, I gotta watch you. You smart. Ooh, child. Y'all better watch her. She's smart. This is a smart one right here. There I go, thinking I'm being slick. Next thing, with a last name like Harlem, can't nothing get by you. I got you.
I mean, what can I say?
You ever seen the movie Harlem Nights with Eddie Murphy and other folks? And I forgot what was the woman's name? I forgot that he shot her, and she's like, "Ooh, you done did it now. You done gone shoot me in my pinky toe. And they come in, now I gotta cut you quick, right now."
Oh my goodness.
So, little moment in life. One of the biggest ones, really. So, I found myself uh, in a storage facility, right,
Mm.
in California. At the time, I was homeless. This was like, here's the setting. It's August. So, August is hot. It's California, so that's hot. The storage unit I was in, I couldn't afford one with an air conditioner. It was like, I think something was like August 10th, yeah, somewhere around in the middle of August. It's hot, no AC, no place to live. Sick and tired of what's going on in my life. This was like 8, 9 months, excuse me, after my divorce from my first wife, and about almost a year after I got blown up in Iraq for the third time, right? So with the 20 years in the military, I was in Iraq fighting the enemy and got blown up 3 separate times within a 30-day period. So I was, as a matter of fact, we have this here, right there. So I got like all the shrapnel stuff that was there on my hands, right? I couldn't walk or talk for like 9 months. Initially, after that happened, there was suicide ideation, depression, PTSD, then the divorce thrown on top of all that was going on, right? So then leaving the military, nothing to do, no income still really hadn't gotten set yet for retirement, all this other stuff. Had to move everything into the storage and couldn't afford anything. And I'm sitting on a box of books, right? Well, at the time I didn't know it was a box of books. I'm just sitting on a box in my storage. Now it's hot as ever. I am tired. I got nowhere to go. I'm crying. Lack of a better word, I'm ticked off at everybody in life. Like, don't come my way. I'm gonna bite you. I was just ravenous at that point, right? Just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I'm sitting there crying, sweating, dripping down my back, whatever, for hours on there. And eventually, you think about it, it's a cardboard box, the sweat and all that stuff running on it. Eventually it starts to, edge would break away. That breaks away. And what do you know? I'm 228 pounds at a time. It's not built with muscle, whatever, but that didn't really matter. Right. Too sexy for my own good, but that didn't pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? So that was, I couldn't even fire Justin Timberlake at the time to bring sexy back. It was already there, but it wasn't doing anything for me. I should have at least go and, anyways, I'll leave it alone. Be serious for a second.
Exactly.
So the box breaks and, it slipped. And the first book that kind of fell out was the book Think and Grow Rich by, Napoleon Hill. So just before that, like the week before, a friend of mine was introducing me to a network marketing opportunity. Well, it's crazy because when you're there, if you believe in God, you believe in the kingdom, we always, here's the deal. This is why most people suffer. And in my new book, This Is Why Christians Are Broke, I explain a lot of it. So we want, like at the time for me, I wanted money. God keeps giving me ideas and sending people with opportunities.
Mm.
But I'm too spiritual to take the ideas and the opportunities. I want the money. Hello, Lord, save your brother. I'm hurting there. When he's like, dum-dum, I'm giving you an idea and an opportunity. Put it to work. Go do it from the sweat of your brow. That means you got to get up and go work, buddy. You're already sweating, so you might as well put in some work. Anyways, some of y'all will get that on the drive home. It's all good. So I had the ideas. I wasn't getting the money, so I was mad. I'm like, mad at God. Long story short, I started reading the book. First chapter talks about desire. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I desire a lot of stuff right now. In fact, I desire food. I ain't got money to buy it, right? Wow. But desire is what keeps you up late at night and wakes you up in the morning. Like, what's that one thing, that red hot burning desire for me? It's like, bro, you ain't got no place to live. You ain't even got no girlfriend. You got no prospects. If you ever look at the movie, what was the name? A Knight's Tale, whatever, when the guys, they were jousting and the guy knocked him down and he was like, you've been found wanting. You have no prospects, whatever. And well, that was me. I didn't even have to joust. I naturally fell down. Now, I think maybe spiritually God was like, let me just kick you out of this box, get you a book, open up your story and go somewhere because you ain't doing nothing, bro. Okay. Wow. Picked up the book and then I got this red hot thing. So then the other chapter talk about the power of auto-suggestion, which means, like affirmations, memorizations, things that you do. And I was thinking about all this other stuff. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Then all of a sudden, the same idea I had with the opportunity to do this network marketing thing. I'm like, oh, well, I'm reading this book. I'm like, man, if I do some of this stuff, man, I could get some. Right. So that was a very defining moment. And I could have stayed there and continued to cry and wallow in my pity, right? And have a pity party where it's just me alone attending and then cry more than now nobody's attending. Well, if I went out and invite somebody, they probably could have come to the pity party, but I didn't. So anyway, I got off my assets like that. I got off my assets and I put my assets to work. Okay. So, I took the last bit of money I had now. So now I had a decision to make. It's like, listen, I'm already homeless and I have to use the money to pay for gas and the car payment. And I'm like, well, if I really kind of put my assets to work in a sense, then, I mean, technically, by the time the month is done, I can make the money back, right? $550 to pay the gas and the stuff. I literally took my little assets to work that month. I made $1,165. Never forget that. Woo! Enough to pay it back and do what I needed to do. And that was my first lesson in sitting and wallowing in the problem. And I said, well, the solution was getting off my assets, putting them to work, use it as a true asset and let it bear fruit for me. So I'm like, okay, cool. I took it biblically and says like, I understood, okay, I was the seed. I needed to be planted so I can become fruit, then turn into a tree to bear fruit. It's like, ooh, Bible's now starting to really make sense. Bro, why were you being so stupid? So I had this conversation with myself, like, why are you being so dumb? Okay, cool. So I took that and I decided to multiply it in every area of my life. And that started. Now, I say that, and the process of doing that, it didn't happen in a day. It didn't happen in a week, a month. It literally took about 3 years, 3.5 years to make that happen. So there were ups and downs and downs and downs and a few ups and some more downs. And will I ever get back up? And then I did get up and like, whoo, if it hold true for one, it hold true for another. And after I figured out the formula, I realized that the stronger you are, like, here's the deal. If you're not getting on the enemy's nerves, he's not attacking you. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, bro. You've been attacking me for a while. You afraid of me, bro? I'm like, okay. You afraid of me. That's why you're attacking me. You bringing your whole posse. You can't come by yourself. And I realized, oh, okay. Because you know what? My dad said he's never going to give me more than I can bear. So I can beat you and I can beat your army. Just number one, I got to believe it. Oh, okay, cool. Game over from then. Right. So that was the last time he held me down. It was a defining moment in my life. I've used the same strategy. Listen, the more pressure means the more growth and success you can have. But the enemy don't want you to believe that. I actually did a Facebook Live today talking about, I mean, if you look about life right now, you see God's lineage and everything he wants for earth is supposed to be done through men. So you won't find more men in church. See, the enemy isn't afraid of women in church. He's afraid of men in church. He's finding all kinds of excuses to keep them out and fill up the church with women. Nothing wrong with the women being in church either. But he wants it to look that way, like, oh, being a devout kingdom builder is not cool. That's what he wants you to believe. Man, like, it's the best thing ever. So that's my whole mission now, right? That's why I serve more than anything else, right? Now it's like, okay, why are so many Christians not living the kingdom life, right? When we pray, the disciples asked Jesus, how should we pray? He says, our Father, like, listen, Dad, you live in heaven. Hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come here on earth. Like, we're aliens. We're invaders. We're supposed to take over the earth because we're made in his likeness. And I'm like, oh, this dude know that since the beginning. He doesn't want that to happen.
Wow.
So now my whole thing is about how do we dominate the earth? Well, first I wanted to upset everybody's spirit. That's why I wrote the book. This is why Christians are broke. Because I want them to get upset. Like, what are you talking? What is the dude talking about? They start reading the book like, okay, cool. I guess it makes sense, right? Because if I don't use a title like that, that's gonna, lack of a better word, tick people off enough. They ain't gonna pick it up to read. But if they bring it up, they're like, here's what I did. No, first thing, the Jews and every other religion, they're going to say, well, about time somebody talks about it, which will make them pick it up and read it. And the whole thing is, it's kingdom.
Yeah.
Because I understand it doesn't matter what religion you are, you're already in the wrong. Because Jesus didn't come preaching a religion, he came preaching kingdom. Up until he was on the cross, and 40 days after, while he was still here, guess what? He still preached kingdom. So I've been telling folks, I'm like, listen, it don't matter what religion you is. As long as you hold on to religion, you're detached from kingdom. So make up your mind. You have to detach.
Wow.
Anyways, that's what
and you know what? Yeah, and what I love about you just kind of sharing your humble beginnings, we hear it all the time, the power of people sharing their story.
Right.
And, people would look at you now and see, all the books and mastermind classes and groups and corporations and they may not realize that you started from sitting on that box in that storage unit.
Started with a bad story, girl.
But that in itself is a testimony. I mean, that in itself is inspiration, right? And that's kind of the whole point in these conversations is to show people, having people from all different backgrounds share that moment, because someone will be able to relate to someone else's pivotal moment. And maybe they're on the beginning side of it. And it's like, you know what? I need to, as Dr. O said, get off my assets and do something.
Yeah, because most of the time we just blame, right? Two modes, blame and responsibility. When you take responsibility, the enemy loses, right? But when you think about it, like you mentioned just now, the testimony. Well, what's the testimony? The testimony is the test that we didn't know we had to prepare for, that God's already instilled inside of us, the ability to pass the test. So it don't matter what test the enemy throws at you. And he says it right there in the Bible. I do all this and so it to show it in my glory. So we're supposed to know, like, hey, I know you were there. It's like the poem with the person who was anger and asking, like, okay, Lord, you said you're going to be here with me. But, when I was on the beach walking, there was only one set of footprints when you said you're going to walk right beside me. God's like, knock, knock. Yeah. And he's like, okay, so who's there? On the beach, the set of footprints, those are mine. I was carrying you. Okay? I was carrying you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my bad. You're right.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but that's the relationship I have with God. Listen, this is, we're made in his image and likeness. So if I'm funny as ever, that means he's funny. God's got a sense of humor. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just going to use mine because I'm made in his image. Right. And if I'm quirky and corny, just the same way. Could you imagine he's sitting up there with Moses going like, look at this one. I already told him like 10 years ago, don't do this craziness. Now, look what's happened. Now he wants to blame somebody else. His life is all upside down. All right, let's do this. Let me introduce him to this person. Watch him. Ooh, he's going again. Look, he's looking at the girl. He should be looking over there. Nope. See, that's why he got in trouble in the first place. Mm-hmm. Right. So.
You are too funny. Oh my goodness. Dr. O, what would you say you learned about yourself in this whole process? I love to get that viewpoint. As we go through our pivotal moment, we learn things about ourselves. So what did you learn about yourself?
Wow. That's not really one thing. It's several. But let me see. I'll stick with three for now.
Okay.
One of the most important ones was first, I'm weak, just like everybody else. And there were the times where I was blaming, I was cursing, everything was like whatever. But then there's kind of like the bridge in between, like coming back from, if you made the fall to get to like the redemption, right? So the bridge was that there's possibilities, and that possibility that I had the ability to become what I am today, because I have had the dreams and all those things. And the reason God put dreams and visions inside of us is like, listen, it's already done. So you just have to do the work to get to it. So it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of different dreams. You just choose one. So I know I had the same potential as everyone else. And then the third was I had to make the decision to commit and to commit to whatever goal I wanted. And here's what I do know is that without commitment, you'll never start. But without consistency, you'll never finish either. So I have to be committed and I have to be consistent. Right? So
I like that.
But like you said, thank you. Right? Like you said earlier, like a lot of folks, they'll see all this stuff. So for example, I love to travel, right? So now I live nowhere, right? My wife and I, all we're doing is traveling for the next whatever until we die. But that's it, right? What they get to see, what people see now is they see me living in these amazing resorts, penthouse, this, that, whatever, you name it, right? We just bought our one of our first islands off the coast here in Mexico, right? Which is where I'm at right now. And they'll be like, oh, it's so cool, so amazing. Well, here's the deal. That was a goal 17 years ago. That was my 20-year vision, which means I have to be committed to it and stay consistent to that. That was the 20-year. Fortunately, I was able to accomplish that in 17 years because I stayed consistent. But if I wasn't committed to it, if I wasn't willing to make the choice and get out of my own way and let God do what he does, which is he will always put the people and opportunity in your space, but you have to have the decision to commit to it. And then once you commit, then you have to keep doing it. So you have to be consistent, right? It's like if you want to be liked in every group you're talking to, you got to brush your teeth every day. Because if you go in a group and you got yuck mouth, ain't nobody, everybody, yeah, it's real nice talking to you. I'll be right back. So you have to be consistent with brushing your teeth, right? Or at least consistent with showering. So
Right.
I meet people all the day. So I first commit to being hygienically presentable. So at a minimum, I commit to that. Now, every day I have a minimum of 2 showers. 2. I will not go to sleep sweaty and nasty. No, that's not going to happen. I want to sleep nice and comfortable and feel fresh when I wake up in the morning. I do.
I love it.
Right? And after I
But you
go
know
for my
what?
workout, I got to have another one, girl, because nobody want to smell like from under. Not me. Not this guy.
And you know, I think it's worth really circling back and mentioning something because, you know, you said you had a 20-year goal
Mm-hmm.
and you reached it in 17 years. And it was based on commitment and consistency. And I want to run that back for a moment because so often we give up.
Right.
And we feel like we convince ourselves that either it wasn't meant to be
Right.
or even that we failed, when the reality is, if you have that commitment and that consistency in mind, you never actually fail.
Yep.
As long as you're alive, you are committed and you're consistent to reaching that goal. Now, it may take, like you said, you had a 20-year goal. It could have happened year 19. It could have happened year 5, but it happened year 17.
You're 17.
So I really love that.
Thank you.
What is the one message that you want to give to people that are tuned in right now?
You know, so here's the one thing, and this is everything for me. I shared it already. It doesn't matter what in life you want. If it's in your mind, then that means it's an idea that got implanted there for you. And all you have to do is be committed to receiving that thing. And then once you're committed, you have to be consistent in working towards it. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. But the stronger the commitment, the stronger the belief, the stronger the faith, the faster you'll get to it. Now, I know for some folks, you know, they think, well, that's kind of frou-frou, whatever, just that's what everybody says. Let me give you a couple of examples. So my word for this year is convergence. Convergence is the ability to bring your future into the present through collaborative behavior. Meaning, if my goal is to generate $1 million this year, typically you'll think about going and doing it yourself. But it'd be easier for me to find 10 people that can help me, and I could do a deal with them, paying them basically 90%, even if I'm taking 10%. And that 10% of helping them build $1 million business from 10 people is $1 million. So it is the ability to bring your future into the present through converging. Now, here's the deal. The thing that you're seeking, if you're committed to it, God's going to send you the opportunities or the people And you have to be able to seize the opportunity, because once you're committed to it, you can stay consistent in the actions, and eventually over time, you're going to see things start to move. And he always says, my thoughts are bigger than your thoughts. My plans are bigger than yours. You just have to stay. And one thing to remember, you have so many examples or testimonies in the Bible. All these tests that other people went through, like Job. When he got to it, even his wife said, why don't you just curse your God and die? And he's like, no, Felicia, bye. Here's what I'm going to do. Right? I'm going to believe him. And he was restored with everything else. Because then Lucifer's like, listen, I bet you if I take all his money, his friends, I get him balls, I give him swords, I give him all this stuff, I take his wife. Like, no, bro. Here's the key. We're all born with a wealth of knowledge. Keyword wealth. Wealth is the ability to bring it. Wealth in faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. But it starts first with faith. Faith, family. If you are connected to the source, there's nothing you can't do without the source.
Wow. Well, there you have it. I mean, we have come full circle and I love it. This is beautiful. Dr. O, and I know we didn't talk about like all the things that you're doing, but I do want people to go find out more about you, because I'm telling you, when y'all start digging and finding out more about Dr. O, the author, the motivational speaker, the business entrepreneur, all these things, is really awesome. Here you are.
This is definitely fun. And, we have been trying to connect for a while, and thank you for remaining consistent through it all. Right. I mean, we committed to this in the first place, so we just have to stay consistent in trying to find the time. And that's why it happened.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, the information will be in the show notes. But go ahead and just tell people if they want to just find out more about you, where would you direct people?
Well, two places. Everybody's on social media today, right? They can go at Dr. Obom Bowen. That's, the @ sign. If you don't know that yet, you haven't been looking at your computers. Just saying. Dr. Obom Bowen, either on Facebook or on Instagram, IG for all you IG. I'm learning Instagram, by the way, so don't hold it against me. But if you guys want to learn more of what I'm really focused on, helping bringing the kingdom here on earth, as you can go to the Underdog Millionaires Unite. So underdogmillionairesunite.com, and you'll find what we're doing. We're building a culture of kingdom-minded entrepreneurs. In fact, today at 6, if you find me on social media on Facebook, you can find Dr. Obom. You can find me there. Today at 6, here's a free invitation to everybody. Come and learn and network with us. We have a networking event. You can come and learn and connect with a lot of the folks from our community to do business with them together. But that's the best way. I love having fun. As you know, Lita, you guys just got a taste of Dr. O. But before I was Dr. O, I was always this corny. I was just corny O. Now I'm just Dr. Corny O. It's all good. My wife is still here because she likes my corny jokes. The only person in the world. That's why I married her. I mean, since I found that out, that's like, nope, not searching for another woman. She laughs at all my jokes. But I don't know if she's laughing at me, Lita, or she's laughing at the jokes. But at least she's laughing. So she's doing it.
There you go. Well, shout out to wifey.
Who literally is at the pool with my daughter right now, and she's having a really hard life reading her Harry Potter book at the pool, drinking some mojitos, right? And every time I come, she texts me, bring me a watermelon or bring me a mango, right? Changing up the flavor. She's still tropical,
Thank you so much again. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Again, the information will be there on the screen in the show notes. Definitely check Dr. O out and just even more of his story. When you go to his website, you'll see even more of just his story and how he's gotten here and just proud to again know you and to be connected with you.
My pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you. Awesome. Let's keep in touch better and let's figure out doing something together, right? I know, let's figure that out, whatever it is. Put it out there. God do the rest of it.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you all as well for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Pivotal Moments with Lita.
Absolutely. Bye, all.